may go.
I'm Darrell. My presentation today is called Uncle Clyde Dealing with Hardships. Hardship.
Is that the right one?
I'm so glad you went first.
The battery appears to be dead. If
Awesome.
something just hit next for me.
Would you be the navigator, or I'll pick the keyboard if you want?
Alright. Let me tell you quickly about my dad. My dad was one of these guys, never got down, right? He was a give me lemons and I'll make lemonade type of person. His whole life. I mean, I don't really ever remember him being a person who got really annoyed and upset, other than if I did something really, really wrong, right? And throughout my life, he told me stories of his Uncle Clyde, because Uncle Clyde was his role model. It was his Uncle Clyde, I guess my great Uncle Clyde, right? And the reason that he considered me a role model is because Uncle Clyde, according to my dad, knew how to deal with hardship. Next. So Clyde's beginnings, things started out pretty rough for him, okay? His dad had been injured. Wait a minute, too far.
Yeah, I think you can hit up arrow, down arrow, probably.
Thank you. So his dad had lost his legs in World War I.
Wow.
Okay. He had a very small, sort of non-functioning farm in rural southern Illinois. And on top of that, Clyde was number 13. Lucky number 13 or unlucky, depending on how you look at it, right? And unfortunately, at Clyde's birth, his mom died. So from the moment he entered the world, he was born into a world of hardship.
Wow.
The sort of formative years of his life, things were pretty tough. Being the smallest of the family, the money was tight, food was scarce. Clyde had to become very resourceful.
Sorry.
Boy, I'm getting challenged here.
You are.
Throwing everything out.
And it was in the small town of El Dorado, which is near where they lived. It wasn't very uncommon to see Clyde dumpster diving for food, and he sort of became too resourceful and got the nickname of Klepto Clyde. You can guess why, right? But he survived, and through it all, he kept a positive attitude. And basically, that time of his life was where it was like his classroom for how to deal with hardship, right? So next. But the preteen years, things went from not so good to worse. First of all, his father passed away, and the family got broken up. Clyde ended up in an orphanage in Chicago, terrible place, abusive. He eventually got taken out of that, went to another orphanage, just one place to another. He was by himself, separated from his family, but yet through it all, his spirits remained high. He kept a positive attitude, because really by now, he was becoming a veteran of how to deal with, say it, hardship. Right? Next. So, teenager, he finally says, I've had enough. He runs away. He's living on the streets of Chicago, living in sort of like a van down by the river. Right? He's living under a bridge abutment, right?
I don't think people in this room are old enough to get the van down by the river comment, except me.
Right. So
I get it.
Okay.
But he would do any job he could to make money. He was no longer a klepto Clyde, luckily. And he was living his life by the golden rule, despite the problems he's faced, because he learned how to deal with hardships. Good news, World War II breaks out, Clyde joins the Navy, whereas most people think, oh my God, it's the Navy, I don't want to be there, it's a war. His whole life had prepared him for this moment. He found a home. He was well equipped because of his life of hardship. Let's go to the next page. Finally, tragedy. One day they're running a drill of all things on the boat. Clyde's all the way down the bottom of the boat, working in the engine room. During the drill, he's supposed to sprint up to the deck and then climb up about 200 feet over this little machine gun nest next to the command center. That's his post. On his way up along these ladders and everything, he almost gets to the top. He loses his his grip, and 200 feet head first into the hard metal deck. everyone's stunned, they can't believe it. But Clyde, go ahead, hit next. Jumped up like nothing happened, because he knew how to deal with hardship.
Hardship, this is funny.
Thank you.